You always learn, open up to new ideas, new conversations, and we keep improving together. Once again, I welcome to this segment. My name is Ayodeji Fortune, Oluleye, the CEO of DFORTUNE Pest Solutions, the convener of this training, of this course, and I thank you for trusting us to do this at this time. We started pest control business about 12 years ago, just a few months, about 12 years now. And in fact, somebody like me never actually worked anywhere really. I just left university and I started very rugged, right? And I started very rough because I'm a kind of person that have a story that I've gone through all the ladder. I mean, I will not say I've gone through all the ladder because there are still more ladders to climb, but from the foundation, the elementary ladders, I've gone through it. I have sold Otapia on the street. I've created Otapia product. I have marketed. I have, I started from the very rugged scratch. No capital, no investment, no support. I just started. And I maintained the growth organically, sustaining it, building it. And here we are today, and we are still going higher. That is why I did not just jump in. I did not have any previous experience of it. I did not learn anything. I told you I left university and we started. But all those, and I've been opportune to work and at different conditions, different states, different locations, in the process of that 12 years, to give me broader versatility and broader scope and understanding of how the industry works. Before I came into Lagos, I was in Ondo State at Fure. DFORTUNE started there. And for the first 3 years of DFORTUNE, nobody ever called me to come and do bedbug for them because there is no bedbug issue. In fact, hardly will anybody call you for mosquito. They always call you for termite and snake. I got to Lagos, and the issue I first encountered was bedbugs. That means there are some peculiarities to different. In fact, the house I came to live was bedbug ridden. Then it became my first practical experience. That was the first time I was seeing bedbug, and I was a pest control practitioner. That means over the years, we put so many things together, learning from experience, learning from leaders, aspiring with zeal and passion to build a formidable industry. And I thank God for the privilege that God has given me to serve in the capacity that I'm serving, and I'm still serving. And I know it can only get better. And I appreciate all of you for your support to our brand, for trusting us to be able to bring you value. And I assure you that we'll continue to bring you value. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to be talking about, I have a degree in industrial chemistry. So I'm going to be talking about microbial disinfection and decontamination procedures. Microbial disinfection and decontamination procedures. This became popular in the wake of COVID. Before COVID came, we have been doing things on disinfection, decontamination, but not popular, not trending. Only special. It's only used for. The only time I was called for such a decontamination exercise, people before COVID was one pharmaceutical company. They need to sterilize the production room because they produce drugs there. Then they need to disinfect to ensure that the air is sterilized, the surfaces are sterilized. And sometimes surgical rooms, hospital surgical rooms, need to be sterilized, disinfected against gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, against fungi, against virus. Virus is not a living thing. That's why you just inactivate it. On surfaces, they are not. It is when they get attached to certain mucus in your body that they become active and living. Fine. So now, COVID brought a new dimension into what the concept of decontamination is. And I thank God for the privilege that I have to be at the forefront of it, even from the beginning, helping so many places, so many people, even governments, to curtail the spread of COVID in our nation. And I believe either way or the other, my effort and the effort of many other stakeholders like all of us has helped to protect Nigeria to where Nigeria is today. So, but what are the basic procedures that you can say, why should I talk about COVID? Or do I have the right, right to talk about disinfection itself? But I can say I have the right. At the point when COVID came and it was ravaging, my topic today is not on COVID. I'm talking about microbial disinfection. But because you are familiar with COVID, and you know that to be a trendy part of business for you, so I'm going to just be bringing it in. So it's about it's not just about COVID, it's microbial disinfection. I was privileged to be among the team that the Lagos State government selected to decontaminate the entire of Lagos State bridges, bus stops in 2020. And my team led the charge. DFORTUNE led the charge, and we did all free of charge. People don't know that we did that free of charge. I don't know, maybe it was free, but I know they did not pay me anything. So, but I did it, we did it all free of charge from my side. And it was an amazing adventure for us because now we were able to show them that we can do, because before then, everywhere, there were a lot of laughs, a lot of, when COVID was in China, Korea, we saw the way they were carrying out disinfection. Suddenly, as they said, they entered Nigeria, we started seeing different drama of spraying. People carrying one thing and just spraying the way they just seen drama. Everybody was laughing. In fact, Lagos State government at some point was embarrassed at the way some certain contractors of theirs, so-called, were carrying out the activity of disinfection because they knew nothing to about disinfection. They were just after the business and the money because they saw huge opportunity in it. But we redefined that at DFORTUNE. We were privileged. We worked with Julius Berger, we worked with Keno and some other stakeholders at the time with Lagos State government. And when I said we set the charge, we really did, because they were stunned at the way we carry out our step to step. It was as though they train us for it. They never did. We have to train them and let them know this is the way it should be done. And this was part of the way what we've been learning. When I take trainings very seriously or knowledge very seriously, even when COVID has not come into this country, I was already prepared. Today, our company produced 2 major disinfection products. I mean produce, I did not say import. Our company produced Coronox. Our company produced Clovidos. These are COVID disinfection chemicals. In fact, these are products are the premium #1 disinfection products in this country. And we produce them locally. But how did we get them produced? And companies like CBN, Shell, multinationals, airlines, that is what they use for their disinfection on a daily basis. So if I'm talking about disinfection, maybe I have a bit of authority a little bit to talk about it. So please just follow me in the class. I'm not going to be going through the route of so much of theory. I'm just going to be telling you some of how this works. When we started seeing the news in Korea, in China, in fact, I was to go to Korea. I already have in fact, I paid for the tickets. I have to stop the ticket. I have to open up the ticket because I'm no longer in Nigeria because of COVID. And I was learning from afar. I was listening. I was reading. At that time, can't enter Nigeria. That is why, as a practitioner, you don't have to sleep on your mind. Your mind must be awoken, must be working. Because something is happening to your neighbor and it has not come to your house, you now say, Regina, there are problems. The thing can knock your door and then I need everybody to move their mouths. You can enter your door and say, what do you do? So when COVID was ravaging Korea, it's ravaging Iran. I was taught every day I was exchanging notes with our partners to ensure how do we go about this? So when the thing happened in Nigeria, it wasn't to me accidental to respond. And the passion within me at the time was not because of the money. I just wanted, that's why I could do the whole of Lagos free of charge. In fact, I was spending my money feeding my staff, feeding everybody on the street of Lagos when everybody was locked down. I have a letter from Lagos State government, a letter of appreciation, specifically written to me for that effort, because we did free of charge. Then, and automatically, the way we delivered the process made disinfection popular, make the modules, the method of disinfection, people now saw clearly, this is the way this thing should be done. So then go with me now, go with me. I really want you to enjoy it because you see, there's big opportunity in this for you. There's big opportunity in this for you as a practitioner, but you cannot kill cockroach yet. You want to go and kill COVID. It is if you don't understand the technicality of what you are doing, you may not be able to face such. And you know, because you say you are doing pest control, people will naturally call you, oh, you do decontamination. If you don't know the honors, if you don't have the license to do, don't just go and enter somewhere and say you want to do decontamination. It is clear enough, you know, as I'm talking to you today, we are doing decontamination on certain places. As I'm talking to you today, from our guide, it requires a lot of training, exposure, understanding, and certification of this personnel to be able to actually enter those areas and do like COVID decontamination procedures. So don't just jump at it because the same money is there. You have to be sure that your safety protocol is top notch. The right material, the right chemicals, the right equipment, the right PPEs, the right approaches, the roving session. You have to understand the process of decontamination. And once again, I say when I mention COVID, always know that I'm not just referring to COVID, I'm referring to microbial generally, anything fungi. Because it's not just about COVID. Before COVID, people have issue with mold in their house. Like I said, you say you are a pest control person, the only thing you can kill is rats. How do you diversify? Francis Iwapa talked about diversification in the business in the previous lecture. Then it's not just about virus. What if you get to a client that they tell you there's mold everywhere? Mold is a microorganism, a fungi. What do you think will be effective? How do you remove them? So it's not just about virus. So what if you get to a space that is maybe they say something that maybe there's a contamination of a sort of a biological weapon or biological biocide or whatever in an environment, and they call you, can you clear it so that for people to be able to have access to it? Will you know what to do as a professional, or will you just jump at it and start spraying what you didn't spray? Knowledge is very important. So now I go to my first part of today's lecture. So we already know everything about COVID. I'm not going to be emphasizing COVID or what COVID is. We know what it is, and we know all the things associated with it. But what I'm now going to go to is the contamination procedure. The contamination procedure, either on microorganism, whatever, is it germ, is it my virus, whatever it is, the contamination procedure. Things you should do first before you engage in any decontamination exercise. Number one, as I put here, it's called risk assessment. Risk assessment. When anybody calls you, oh, can you carry out, my brother has COVID, or he just died him, or somebody was sick, can you help us disinfect this place? Don't just jump at it. Do a risk assessment analysis of the site. Is the risk high? Is it low? Is it medium? Do a risk assessment so that you can know how to approach it. Is there an established case on the site, or is there a suspected case? You know, maybe they are just suspecting, let's just keep safe, or there is a premium established matter on the site, like the one I'm doing this morning. I'm doing a place this morning that over 13 people have been evacuated from the facility for COVID case. That means that's a premium established, and not just ordinary COVID, it is Delta variant. And then, but how are we able to do it? Knowledge, trainings, exposures. Knowledge, training, and exposure. So, risk assessment first. The protocols need to be followed when you are going through the contamination procedure. Two, when you enter a place, I said cleaning of high debt surfaces where necessary. You can see in that section I put where necessary. Cleaning is supposed to precede disinfection. But I said where necessary. For example, you can try to start cleaning and get infected. Because in my own case, when somebody called us for a COVID clean out or something, I first disinfect the entire surface. And I said, by the way, I said something to you that it's not just about this, whatever COVID it is. For example, if you have ever done pest control for bats, bat is as an animal bird that carries a lot of germs, a lot of in fact, bat is the carrier of Ebola. Are you aware? That means, and many of you go to do bat control, you spray, or maybe there's bat in your house, you climb into the ceiling, you can have fungi attack you. So how do you now treat, when you want to go to do cleaning for bats, don't just go there with broom and start cleaning their pools. You need to decontaminate the entire area before you start cleaning. So it's not just, this thing is just about, that's why it's called microbial disinfection. So you need to know where, for example, we talk about rats. You get to a place, some of you are doing cleaning, and there are rat poo everywhere, and your customer asks you to come and clean. And you know that if a dust from a rat poo, you inhale it in your nose, and if that rat was to be infected with Lassa fever, you're automatically going to take Lassa fever. So we just go there with broom, without nose cover, and start sweeping rat poos. You understand? You just go there, you start sweeping. Okay, let me sweep. Yeah, you know, you just sweep it like that. No PPs, no. So as I said, even though cleaning of high dirt surfaces is very important in disinfection, but I always advocate that first and foremost, you must first do the first aid approach by first neutralizing the surfaces. If the place is very dirty or the place is highly risk, if it's an high risk, you know, I talk about risk. If the place is an high risk, you must first at least have the first aid approach, and your PP is done before you start cleaning out. Then you can now also finalize it by doing proper disinfection. Then number 3 is what I call spot treatment with chemical to be sure of compatibility with surfaces. A lot of people have entered into great debts, trouble with error when they use different chemicals that cause damage in their customer's house. A lot of people, we call us, somebody came to do decontamination for me. With my old desk, my table has turned to white. There is a taste and coloration everywhere. The odor is everywhere. No matter the chemical you are using, no matter, even if I tell you to use Coronos Novidos, no matter the surface, do spot treatment. That means you're going to look for a corner, a spot within the house, within the space, and do a spot treat and see the effect of that chemical on that surface before you just wipe everywhere. It's better until you trust that chemical, that you know that this chemical, this is the way it is. Don't just blow it all over without you having confidence in chemical. Like I can blow Coronos or Clovis all over because I already know what it is. But initially, when we started, we were doing spot treatment for experimenting with it for so many weeks. So always do spot treatment. Then after you are done with spot treatment, you are satisfied with your spot treatment, then you proceed with the treatment of the overall area, in, out. When I say in, out, you don't treat out, in. You go to the in, out, you exit. You are not going to be like the same thing with regular spraying. When you are spraying, you don't want to spray a 3-floor building. You are not spraying middle floor. You are not going to the upper floor to spray again. That's why you are using. So you need to go first, rear first, in, and be exiting floor to floor or room by room until you finally exit the apartment or the building or the facility. I hope you get it clear. Then re-entry period. How long does it take after you carry out disinfection and decontamination for you to re-enter? Some of you say, if I do a pest control like I do spraying, I will tell my customer, don't come till tomorrow, go for an hotel, spend 3 days, or give us lock the place up for 4 hours. But in the case of decontamination, how long does it take to enter the apartment? It could be as short as 10 minutes. In fact, 5 minutes, depending on the material you are using. Microorganism is not the same as cockroach or rats. So it could be, most microorganisms are anaerobic. They don't require oxygen to survive. You know, an average insect, pest, they are all aerobic. They require oxygen to survive. So that means the procedures and the are different. You know, so then I move now to application method. What are the ways to apply? I've told you the contamination procedure. Application method is either the use of a spray bottle like you see in Coronos. Coronos have a spray bottle of Coronos. Like I can show you, like somebody is if you can see me, okay, this is Coronos spray now. You know, this is a disinfectant, but you can see this Coronos. This is a spray bottle. Or use any of your nebulizers, such as maybe your regular knapsack sprayer, your compression sprayer, your electrostatic sprayer, and your ultra-low volume sprayer. The one of priority and premium are those two. Your ultra-low volume sprayer, that's your UFV, and your electrostatic sprayers. So any of those can work. You know, a lot of people want to do disinfection and carry fogging machine. Okay, you can actually carry out disinfection using gas method. There are so many gas methods that can help in tidying up microorganisms in the atmosphere, in the air, to sanitize the air. Yes, you can just to sanitize the air. But one of the reasons why we emphasize more on surface treatment in respect to COVID is because COVID is an envelope virus that rests on surfaces. It's not, that's why they say it's not airborne. That means if you are just sanitizing the air and you do not sanitize the surfaces, you may not just be doing the work. So not just for you to just put a gas in the air. That's why it is important, because all the touch points, the surfaces need to be treated, because the premium thing you are going after, you have to have understanding of the kind of thing you are going after. Virus could either be envelope virus or not envelope virus. And the one you have that you are dealing with is said to be envelope. I think they said it's still study to be envelope. That means, and it is not airborne, it settles on surfaces. That's why they say when you sneeze, the droplet is heavy, it drops on surfaces. That means if we just decontaminate the air and freshen up the air, the surfaces may still remain. That's why you see people doing surface treatment. Surface treatment. So, if personal protective equipment that you need to have in disinfection and decontamination procedures, your coverall should be synthetic, disposable preferred. And I know a lot of people have issue with that. It's too expensive. A disposable coverall could go for almost 7,000, 10,000. I will now use it for just one work and dispose it. If you don't use a disposable coverall, you may have your own fabric-made coverall, but that means you cannot just have one or two or three. You have to have multiple, and you have to have proper protocol in place. That means after your regular disinfection procedures, you need to do proper body spray. Not only body spray, the entire equipment you are using needs to be treated so that you don't carry an infection from your site back home. 2, you need boots. Like Sanitary Bureau said yesterday, for disinfection purposes, you don't need leather boots. If you are doing disinfection, because those things can easily attract germs, all those safety boots because of leather, you need things like synthetic rubber boots if you are carrying out disinfection. In respect of normal pest control, you can use your safety boot, leather boot. But when it comes to disinfection, you need synthetic rubber boots preferred, rubber material preferred, boots, gloves. Hand glove has to be synthetic glove, not your woolen glove or clothing glove or your. And I don't advise you to use all these NEPA gloves. How do you even handle the chemical and the machine when you are using such a thick glove? When you are not adding electric pole or electric wire? So there are other premium surgical synthetic gloves that you can use. Nose mask. I put here medical grade nose mask. There are so many nose masks. No, the one that you are using for your pest control is different from what you use in dealing virus. Don't say because I want to go and do disinfection now, you now put your, in fact, your 3M. Not every mask is made for disinfection. For disinfection, it has to be N95. At worst, it should be KN95. KN95 is not as quality as N95, but it's a variant as worst. So if no matter how the heavy nose mask you put in this stage, you are dealing with microbes. We are dealing with invisible organisms. You are not dealing with not that chemical of cockroach or something or mosquito together. You are dealing with invisible. All those your big masks may not necessarily be useful. And in most cases, the chemical we use for treating or disinfecting is not as harsh. In fact, it has to be friendly. It's not as harsh as what we use in normal pest control or spraying. And the reason why you wear all those masks for pest control is because of the hazard that is attached to pest control chemicals. Pyrethroid, organophosphate, organochlorine, they are very dangerous chemicals. They can cause eternal body issues with the operators. That is why you have to wear professional grade face masks, respirators, and the like. But in disinfection, you just need your N95. That is why some of you want to say you want to go and do disinfection, you carry the DVP and go and do disinfection. I don't know the disinfection you are doing though. So a lot of you have bastardized disinfection so much that and knowledge is that you think whatever should kill cockroach should kill microorganisms is a lie. It's a lie. Like I'm here now, look at this is a product here, it's called soft spray. You can say I spray it on my body, I'm not even wearing face mask. And it's able to sanitize my table. In fact, sanitize, if I go, usually when our guys, for example, I told you about our guys today, about 3 of our guys that are currently going to be working the next few days for a decontamination procedure of a certain location, right? A premium location. All of them have their personal Coronox in their bag. As soon as they are exiting, they are first disinfecting themselves. disinfecting their bag, disinfecting their shoes, their boots, even their equipment. For example, if you are using UAV or electrostatic machine, maybe the cable of those UAV has been running on certain floors. You can't just fold it. You can't just fold those cables and put them and pack them back. What if somebody has peed or coughed? Maybe a sick person has been there, he has been coughing, he has been spinning cough, and they say, and your cable, I just pack it again, pack it home. That means as they are exiting, their glove, they are disinfecting their glove. And even though they are going to dispose those gloves, but they still disinfect it. That is the protocol before they dispose. Even if they are going to dispose their coverall, they need to disinfect the coverall before they dispose, so that somebody doesn't get to pick it up and get infected on the way. Their boots need to be disinfected, and that is it. So another one is goggle or face shield. Face shield. Almost all of you know what face shield is, in case anybody sneezes into your face. But in the real sense of it, when you are not dealing with an airborne virus or airborne microorganism, and you don't have active person, nobody's going to cough there. Maybe everybody has evacuated the building. You may just know the face because nobody's going to cough in your face. But for safety purpose, so that there will not be splash, maybe splash of anything from surface, you may need a full goggle or a goggle, and the face shield. Thank you. Machines and equipment that are necessary. I already mentioned this previously, and I'm trying to look at my time. I mentioned of the bottle spray. I mentioned of the backpack knapsack. They are basic equipment that you can use for your disinfection, just like you do for your spraying in pest control. And I mentioned of ultra-low volume UAV cold fogger, because cold fogger is able, pest control profile discusses the highlighted UAV fogger are very important because it's able to disperse microbes, small, very tiny microbes into the atmosphere. That if this microbe can stay in the air, the microbes that UAV disperse is lighter than the weight of regular air. That means it can stay in the air for up to 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes. That means it's able to sanitize the atmosphere. It's able to sanitize the air, even if there are germs in the air. That means if the germs or the microbes were said to be airborne, using something like UAV machine, a low microbe of 0.5 to almost 10 or 20 microbes can stay in the air and sanitize. So you have enough time. Then when you are using things like knapsack will not do that for you, because knapsack and blower, they disperse heavy droplets. That means they can only treat things on something, they can't handle the ones in the air. So what UAV and electrostatic machine, for example, work for you in advantage because they're able to disperse fine particles into the air and also rest on surfaces, and you get a better result at the end. We have other machines called motorized boom sprayer, thermal smoke foggers. If you are using thermal smoke foggers, not be this no the key virus, not be DDVP. There are certain chemicals that can actually use with a certain fogging machine, and it will come out and help disinfection. If you see China and Korea, you see them using foggers for disinfection. It doesn't have to be. They say, how can they use fogger? Yes, depending on how the chemical, you can fog. You can actually fog an aerosol in the air. But mind you, it will work majorly in sanitizing the air. But some of them will drop on surfaces too, like UAV will do, and it will help to sanitize the surfaces. And it will help to try, because the virus is so small, tiny, those droplets are so small, so it's able to capture whatever and cover the all surfaces whenever you are spraying them uniformly. So thermal fogger actually, as a mind, actually work for disinfection. But be careful, it doesn't have to be diesel smoke like you are familiar with. You have to be thermal fogger working like a cold fogger. Now, this leads me to one very important part of this training today. List of chemicals, type of disinfectants that is essential for you that benefit, because this is the area that quite a lot of people have issues. Like, what chemical will I use? Me, I become everybody. What chemical will I use for this? What chemical will I use for this? That is what it is. So, first and foremost on my list, my standard, my most preferred disinfectant is aqua-based. For so many reasons, aqua-based is most preferred to me. But when I say aqua-based, and that is like, these aqua-based, this is our product, Coronos. It's made from aqua, but ordinary alcohol doesn't kill. You have to understand the science of alcohol. And when we say alcohol, you have to know the type of alcohol we are talking about. There are so many alcohols. Some alcohol doesn't have any effect on microorganisms. For example, methanol is an alcohol. Ethanol is an alcohol. Isopropanol is an alcohol. And more. If you now say because you want to use alcohol to do disinfection, you want to buy methanol. Methanol doesn't have power over microorganisms. In fact, it has the least effect on germs and microorganisms. It doesn't. The most effective of all alcohol family is isopropanol or isopropyl alcohol or IPA that you mostly see in your methylated spirit. Methylated spirit, that's an isopropyl. Then the next line of most effective is ethanol. Ethanol is what you mostly see in your regular ogogoro and the likes. But the challenge there, the clarification there is this. Your regular ogogoro, no matter how hot it is, even your gin, your champagnes, all those hard drinks, the alcohol content is maximum is 42-45%. It doesn't exceed that, and that is not enough. So some of you say, let me just take ogogoro and let me take gin, at least corona will die. It's not enough. Because in your gin, most beer has 7% alcohol. Most gin, most red wines has 11%, 12%. It can't do anything. Most of your hot wine, the real hot wine, we say the mad guys, they take 25% actually. The best of the best, all the hottest of the hottest, we say only one glass like this, the person is running haywire, is 40%, 42%. Go and read the label. But for you to have an alcohol that can be effective for microorganisms, your concentration needs to range between 65% to 85%. Hear this point. You know, I mentioned 65 to 85%. I did not say 100%. That is the issue with methylated spirit that many of you don't know. Methylated spirit has, when you look at the label, has 90 to 99% alcohol concentration. But the little content of the 20 to 25% of water content that is added to alcohol, that's why most of your sanitizer, they will say, I hope it is 70%. I hope it is 75%. I hope it actually from 65% is effective. Why do you think they ask those questions? So why don't you just use proper? A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people want to do this when they will just go and buy ethanol and put inside their spray and start spraying. You may not just kill the virus. Because the little water content, that 20 to 25% water content, help the protein, the chitin at the exoskeleton of those microorganisms to synthesize. So that water is actually an ingredient of disinfection. So that quantity of water, that 20 to 25% of water in that ethanol or in that alcohol, help the microorganism, help the protein, the microorganism feel at home. But when it is highly concentrated, it only kills the germs on the surfaces. That is why the grade of alcohol-based disinfectant that should actually range between 65 to 75. Don't exceed 80. That should be the max. Because if you exceed 80, it will still not work. It will still not work for regular surface disinfection. And disadvantage of alcohols too are many, and as its advantage is much. That is why when you look at alcohol-based, alcohol is clean. Like I use Coronos here, it's clean, no stains. It smells well. It doesn't affect human body like use of sanitizers, like a lot of things. But it has issues too. It is less effective on spores of microorganisms. That is why it is less effective on fungi. Fungi naturally replicate through spores. Bacteria replicate through spores. It is effective on gram-positive, not on gram-negative much of bacteria. Yes, alcohol is very effective on virus because virus is not a living thing, remember. It's just for you to inactivate it. Alcohol is very effective to a certain extent. But when you are doing decontamination, that's why it's called microbial decontamination. You must know the limitation of the chemical, the product, or the disinfectant you are using per time. It doesn't clear all germs. But for example, what now makes product like Corona different is because of the other addictive. There are certain addictive, which is our own manufacturer's secrets that make Coronas pass the test of having ability to control both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. That is why it's been highly sought after. It is not alcohol. Because we added some certain additives to it that gave it the edge so that it can tackle both envelope virus and non-envelope virus. Then that's alcohol based for you. So if you are going to say, I'm going to use alcohol by myself, you have to know what you're using it for. you have to know the proportions, the mixing. You have to know what you are mixing. Don't just say I'm buying 5 liter alcohol, I'm going to mix 5 liter water. You have turned the alcohol, because alcohol in itself comes in standard of 99% or 90%, 95%. Sorry, that's the standard factory grade. And the one you are buying in measurement in gallons, most of you go to Ojota. Some of these guys saying they already added small water to it. You will see no, because it's colorless. You now come again, still add another 50% of water. You are just wasting your client's time and wasting your time. You say I've done disinfection, because in disinfection there are no really KPIs, key performance indicators to show that you are really. It's like when you do pest control now, people see rat, they say your work no good though. But how do they know that you do not do the right thing? Unless they carry out about tests on the surfaces, like air tests or surface tests, to know that there are still germs or microorganisms on these surfaces. And Kronos has passed that test severally for disinfection. Then in the list here, another class of disinfectant is after alcohol. I listed here chlorine-based. You all know what chlorine-based is. Many of you know bleach. And there are two categories basically. There are several other categories, but there are two common categories. We have the sodium hypochlorite, and we have the calcium hypochlorite. The sodium hypochlorite are the liquid. That's the liquid bleach you see. By factory grade and factory standard, sodium hypochlorite comes in the grade of 5.5, sometimes 6%. That's the concentration of chloride in sodium hypochlorite. That is the concentration of your bleach. Your regular household bleach has a concentration of 3.5, 2.5%. That means they've diluted further the sodium hypochlorite to form that 3% or 3.5 to be able to, and you cannot still use it, because for you to get proper disinfection with chlorine base, you need to dilute to 0.05. So the calcium hypochlorite, that is why when you buy the bleach, it will be written on the body how many cap you should put on a certain number of water. So you need to know the formula, you need to read the label very well, you know what you are using. And we have the calcium, which is the powdery form of it, calcium hypochlorite, which you need to see dissolve in water. It's like when you look at your water guard, you know, this pellet water guard, you know, the same chlorine that they use in bleaching clothes, they use in bleaching water, sanitizing water. It's also used in disinfection and decontamination. But it also has its own huge disadvantage. Several disadvantages to chlorine-based so you have to, when you understand the disadvantage, it is easy for you to know how best to work around it. One of the disadvantages of chlorine, one advantage of chlorine is the broad spectrum antimicrobial activity. That means, as I talk about alcohol, that alcohol can deal with certain germs and not with certain germs, unless we have to fortify it like we have to fortify Kronos. That's why it's our premium trademark. The formula is our trademark at DFORTUNE. You have to fortify it so that it can cover those traits for alcohol lovers. That means people can spray it on your clothes, on your body, disinfect your body, without causing any irritation over you. Then, when chlorine can take care of all, but chlorine can cause irritation. If you spray on your body, it can scratch you, it can irritate your eyes, it can cause chlorine gas. Chlorine gas can kill people. Chlorine poison. If you imagine when you put bleach on the surface of your room, you use to mop your surface of your room, and you don't lock that room. You come back, don't you feel shocking? It can trap oxygen out of that room. Then another disadvantage of it is it causes bleaches. When you spray chlorine on surfaces, you use to wipe something and you don't dilute it properly to a certain level. If you don't understand that dilution rate, you may cause damage that will cost you more than the job you have taken. That means your disinfection, and you know in disinfection, like pest control, that you just spray, maybe you can spray the air and the chemical will spread over the entire room. In disinfection, you need to spray all the surfaces, because most of these microorganisms doesn't need your oxygen to live. You need to inactivate them on the surface. That means the wall, the surfaces everywhere need to be treated. The wall everywhere need to be treated, so that is what it is about chlorine, about that. So the surfaces need to be treated everywhere. Then if you now have to apply things like chlorine that can cause bleaching, that can bleach your wallpaper, can bleach your computer, can bleach your TV, and you don't mix it properly, then you may just be or a thing. Another disadvantage about chlorine is it gets inactivated easily in the presence of organic matters or fecal content. Maybe if you spray it in a dirty environment, and you don't. That's why initially I told you about cleaning before the contamination procedure, because you need to clean out the organic matter before you apply something like chlorine. But I told you, always apply the first aid, all the surface disinfection. especially depending on the risk level of the particular site you are working at. Then you need, so chlorine, in the presence of chlorine, in the presence of organic matter, you get deactivated easily, you get broken down. And another one issue with chlorine, like alcohol inactivate virus and germs within 30 seconds, 60 seconds to 1 minute, 2 minutes. But chlorine always love to have a contact time of up to 5, 10, 20 minutes contact time on surfaces. That's why you need to wet the surface. You know the way you mop the surface. But in using alcohol, you don't need to mop the surface and wet everywhere like that. So chlorine always require contact time. That content you spray over will stay like 5, 10 minutes. And that same period that is going to stay on that surface, it can also bleach the color of the surface. So that means you need to understand what you are using. By formulation, I've told you initially, liquid sodium hypochlorite, you are aiming at 0.05 to 0.5%, but depending on the formulation you are using for your work. And liquid sodium comes in 5% standard, 5% grade, while the calcium always comes with 3 grades. We have 45%, 45%, I think 45, 48%, those are the common grades for calcium. Then another group of disinfectant I really want to quickly go to is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is one of the most used disinfectant globally, because of the affordability and ability to break down easily. Because when it releases oxygen, the extra oxygen of the water. Hydrogen peroxide is the water with an extra oxygen. So that extra oxygen causes inactivate and deactivate microorganisms. And at the same time, it is also a bleaching chemical. Peroxide bleaches. In fact, that is what they use in paper industry for bleaching of all this white paper from raw paper to white. It's hydrogen peroxide that is mostly used. So it can also bleach surfaces. That means you must know the concentration of the dilution. If you don't get your dilution very well, you will not get it. And hydrogen peroxide is active against wide range of microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast, fungi, viruses, and spores. Now I told you alcohol doesn't have this kind of grace, this strength, because alcohol cannot really affect spores, yeast, and some bacteria, a section of bacteria. Yeast is a fungi. Spores, because the spores is like the seed of the mind. They laid like this. Sometimes they sit down at the speed, sporified, all those kind of things. So hydrogen peroxide is very effective in this regard. And the active level is 0.5% accelerated hydrogen peroxide demonstrates bacteria and virucidal activity in 1 minute. That means if you hydrogen peroxide at 0.5%, can give you effects within 1 minute. It will have cleared anything, germs and the microorganisms on the surfaces, and it can last up to 5 minutes there, to 1 minute or 5 minutes. The disadvantage of peroxide, as usual, it causes bleaches. It can bleach surfaces as well, like chlorine. It can also decolorize, because I told you it's using tissue paper. Another one that I want to also mention that is common, and I know many of you are guilty of this, is formaldehyde. Who knows what formaldehyde is? It's also in the street language, they call it formalin. In chemical language, they call it methanol or aldehyde. So formalin is one of the best disinfectants, actually, most effective globally. It works, it clears anything. That is what is used in preserving dead body in mortuary, because it will not allow microorganisms to grow in the dead body. That's what is used in preserving lizard, snake, rat inside the laboratory. Somebody will bring a rat, like drop inside the lab, say this rat has been here for 10 years, not because they drop inside formaldehyde. But that means if you use formaldehyde to do disinfection, you will get results. You say you will not get results. Your result will be very good. Formalin, your result will be very good. It's a disinfectant and a sterilant. And another advantage of formaldehyde is it works both in its liquid state and its in gaseous state. That means if you burn formaldehyde, like you fog it or you smoke it out, you can put. There are certain chemicals that are in there, certain woody material. Just put fire on it. When the smoke comes out, formaldehyde can trap viruses or microorganisms in the air. So that's formaldehyde for you. Formaldehyde is sold and used principally as water-based solution. I told you formalin, which is, concentration of formalin is 37% formaldehyde concentration mixed with water. That's what we call formalin in the market. Disadvantage of formalin and formaldehyde is it's a carcinogenic chemical. Meaning it is known, it's not that it's been studied. it is said and confirmed to be a carcinogenic chemical. That means you should reduce your interaction with formaldehyde, formalin. If you don't, some of you use it for fumigation. I don't know why. I don't know who gave you the chemistry. You say the pepper people face. You don't turn to science students, just mix chemical up and down, destroy cause environmental pollution, and give yourself environmental public health issues. Who recommended formalin for you? When as formalin becomes an insect killer? There's a difference between methanol and formalin. And methanol is an alcohol. And you know, formalin also has pungent odor, irritating fumes. Injection of formalin is fatal. It can kill the person immediately. A long-time exposure to low level in the air cause skin irritation, asthma-like respiratory problem, and so many problems. So if you know you can bear with all these situations and troubles of formalin, you can use it to, but I told you, it's very good, it's effective. That is why when you are using it, it is used in the hospital. That is why it has not been fully banned in the market. All the mortuary keepers, science laboratory use formalin. It is used heavily in industrial locations for rubber production, plastic production, and many others. But they put in safety precautions in place in the application. They don't just allow their hand to touch it. Go to Ojota, they see some people selling formalin. They're using a cup without glove. And they are more than measuring their hand inside. In fact, when you dip your hand inside the formalin, it look like all the red blood cells died. It just look like your finger is still. So be careful in that regard. Then another chemical I'm going to be talking about today is the family of what I call quaternary ammonium compound. This is one of the most common quaternary ammonium compound components are widely used as disinfectant. Healthcare-associated infections have been reported from. So QAC are generally fungicidal, bactericidal, and virucidal against lipophilic. I told you about envelope virus, lipophilic virus, and envelope virus, and so that means envelope virus has lipid. Lipid is fat in their layers. Lipophilic. That means QAC. And the examples of QAC are in this one, we have benzalkonium ammonium compound. We have PCMS, xylitol. For example, our product Clovidus. Clovidus is of the family of QAC, quaternary ammonium compound. So when you hear Clovidus disinfectant, I told you about Chronos. Chronos is of the class of alcohol-based, but infused and fortified. While Clovidus is from the family of QAC, with major other formulations that make Clovidus what it is, so that to give buyers or users options. Most people that come to buy disinfectant from us, they will say, "Oh, I love Chronos." They will use Chronos for indoor, use Clovidus for outdoor. You can still use Clovidus for indoor and outdoor. The only thing is that just the way Chronos or alcohol-based can dry within surfaces within 1 to 3 minutes. Clovidus, because it is water-based, will require an extensive time to dry up the out. That means the re-entry period will be up to 30 minutes to 1 hour. Or like when you use Chronos, I can actually enter the premises within 10 minutes. So both of them doesn't stain and they don't cause irritation. So they are one of the safest class. That is why we choose to produce chemicals in those directions and not go to chlorine class, any other class as well. There are many other disinfectants globally, permanganates, anything that can decolorize, that can bleach, that can tidy up things. So many titanium-based. I'm just telling you the one that is easily available in our local markets in Nigeria. And then I'm bringing to you the options that they have in a way that the options they have that you can use in treat so that you can know, oh, even though we have almost 1,000 different products globally that can do this disinfection work, but what are the ones that we have locally available in the market? And let me give you the advantage and disadvantage of it so that you can help you in your choices. So QAC is one important part. So it's good. It has no disadvantage too, because when you are applying a QAC like Clovidus, don't use a sponge, don't mop it, because those sponge will affect the concentration of it to not make it work. Don't use sponge or what's it called? Foam. Don't use to apply it. You rather spray it and use a microfiber or use your ultra low volume or your boom sprayer or your UAV. And one advantage of Clovidus or QAC, it is not combustive like alcohol. That you cannot don't use alcohol based or Chronos with your what's it called now? Electric motorized sprayer. Those sprayer, no. They are what? they are flammable. But in case of transferring ammonium compound, they are not flammable. And so one other thing that I want to talk about, another one is paracetic acid. Acetic or paracetic acid acted by rapid action breakdown. Special advantage of paracetic acid that it lacks harmful decomposition product. Means when paracetic acid is on, most hospitals actually before COVID, we are already used to what they use in and one that's very common that I can take as the last one. And that particular, if I know I'm almost writing up, so if you're tired, don't worry. I'm writing up shortly now, just within 3 minutes. This one is they are stopping us. The last one I'm going to be talking about today, I told you I selected these 7 because they are easily available in the market and you can choose. Is what I call the phenolic, the phenol compound. When I say phenolic, I say which one is phenolic again? You use it every day. Phenolic like cresolate, cresol. All of you know ISA, right? And there are so many features of ISA. One of the let me quickly into something. I talk about clovidus, that is a family of quaternary ammonium compound. What makes clovidus like the product we produce is because we look at the advantage of different classes, then we infuse it together. So in clovidus, you will see a trace of QAC, you will see phenolic compound. That means it regulates this disadvantage of QAC. Like for example, in QAC now, in gram-negative bacteria can survive in QAC, in a quaternary ammonium like benzalkonium chloride. But it will not survive in other ones. Then in clovidus, we blend those, just the way I told you about how we blend alcohol and other infusers together to form chloride. You know, that's what we experiment for so many days and so many weeks, and we achieve that. So clovidus is a blend of those 2 classes so that it balances up the weakness and the limitation of others. And the advantage that clovidus now offer the market is affordability, cheaper than the regular chloride, that's a more of a premium class. Then phenolics, you talk about your ISA, you talk about your Lysol, you talk about your Cresol, Cotal, all those class. Has occupied a prominent place in the field of hospital disinfection since its initial use as a germicide. Those are what we call the germicide. So one advantage of phenol is it is effective even in the presence of organic matter. Even when you place phenol inside dirty environment, you will still kill all the germs and the bacteria. Or like I told you about chlorine that in the presence of dirt, it will reduce work. And even alcohol, in the presence of dirt, it will reduce work. You now realize why we produce clovidus, so that clovidus is a blend of phenol and QAC. Then it can also act even when the place is dirty. Effective in the presence of organic matters, even in that's why you see people use germicide. They say, oh, the toilet is dirty, just pray. The place is very stinky. They put germicide in gutter because it's also effective, very strong in there. But there are different classes. Don't say because I say clovidus there are so many. There are over 100 or 200 above classes of phenolic that is available. We have PCMS, we have DCMS, we have xylenol. There are so many. It's not just Cresol and Scrota. These ones are the common two. But we have xylenol. It's also a part of what they use to make it Dettol. When you see Dettol, it's also part of phenolic compound. Dettol is made from some phenolic from DCMS and IPA combined with some from pine oil and other things. So you can see that means something like a Dettol. It's also an antiseptic, but they have to use a DCMS or a PCMS, which is a phenolic compound, then an IPA, which is an alcohol, that's isopropanol, then mixing with a pine oil to give you those Dettol odor you are perceiving. You see what makes Dettol and the color. And if you maybe I'm passing through the study beyond the class of this. Sorry, I studied industrial chemistry, but they did not teach me in class anyway. I had to learn everything by myself. So all those things, not because they taught us in class. Schools is just to open your mind for you to do your personal development and study. So school may not help you in any way. Anyone that don't even go to school will still become great. So but schools, what school does for you is open your mind to possibility of study. Then when you give yourself opportunity of training like this and study and learn, you're able to broaden your horizons. So disadvantage of phenols are it is absorbed by porous materials, and the residual disinfectant can irritate tissues. It can irritate the skin. You know, imagine when you put your germicide on your skin, it can cause a bit of purplish and inconvenience. So you have to understand and you know, most ones that you buy, they are highly concentration. So they are expected to see dilute it further. That's why when you see things like our product, we have done in the way that an average layman can start using it. You don't need to know too much of grammar. You have to miss this, miss this, miss this. It is straight to the point. Anybody can relate with it, and if you give them the result, and they make their money. So when they are done, you go make your millions. Don't disinfect them. You do it properly. So that is it for that section. Then to round up now, I'm going to talk about after you are now done with your disinfection, you don't enter the house of the terror. Now you are done. You have what to exit. So what do? You just exit like that? Just pack your bag and start going to your house. You will just be carrying infections to your house if you have to just do that. That means as you are exiting, or you have to carry out. I call it after work. As you exit the particular building, don't just start packing your equipment into your car. That is why there must be somebody outside that must carry out disinfection for your body, your full body disinfection. Your PPE must be disinfected. That is why Coronos is very important. Even if you are not using things like this for your regular disinfection, you can use any other chemical, but you need hand chemical like that can dry fast and it can disinfect your body. While you spray on your equipment, you spray on your machine, even cables, your boots, you spray everywhere, spray on your coveralls everywhere. Let somebody do that for you. Both of you spray one another. Like you, when you go to airport, they spray you. You pass through, you go to some hotels, they have the sanitizing tunnel. You pass through, you spray your body for disinfection. Though they put different chemical inside, I always recommend Coronos inside, not chlorine. Because chlorine cannot kill germs within 1 second or 1 minute. I take it to pass through. It is just deception when it's only anything that is alcohol based. They have the capacity of that speed to inactivate anything on surface 30 seconds to 1 minute and will not cause bleed. But when they say they put any other chemical that just fall like rain on you, for it to actually inactivate anything in your body, you need to wet your whole body. And when you wet your body, you become, how can you wet? You are dressed up for the event. Somebody will now wet your body so wet. And it will require like 10 minutes, 5 minutes for that to be effective. So you see. So disinfect your PPE after you discard if you are working in an high risk area. What did I say? If I told you the first thing you do is risk assessment. You see the high risk. If you are working in a very high risk, that this place, they say they've carried out 3 patients out of this place. So discard your PPEs, especially your coverall. You don't need to take it home. But if it is a moderate area, you can still disinfect and use, like see doctors. Doctors wear their coverall. After they are done, they use their coverall. Don't the guys take it up, and they have a professional way of cleaning it and ensure that it could be used by another doctor. So they don't have to dispose that. But there are certain areas they want to enter, high epidemic area. They will have to probably develop and discard. And I told you before you even discard, ensure you disinfect it. Don't just discard an infected PPE. Ensure to disinfect. Number 2, after work, body clothing disinfection. Spray yourself from head to toe. You can put your chemical in your knapsack.
Oh, cool.
You cannot be going to prepare yourself.
You're there a little more than mine. You're gonna.
You are paid and you are well. So you can go to our website, go to some of our social media pages and see some of our appearances when it comes to disinfection, as the way we carry out about that. I know this session has taken about 10 minutes one time, even though I started 10 minutes. So quickly now, I'm going to go through with lots of questions and answer. In general, I'm going to respond you from this meeting. In general, I'm going to respond you for this meeting. You are stopping the entire people here, they are business people, they are serious minded people. We don't want any kind of indiscipline. Mute your mind, that's what we will say. So can we have contributions? Can I have questions? Can you just raise your hand and indicate you want to ask any question, you want to make any contribution? I don't know everything, no. I just talk my own. I just the talk, the one I can talk. Just ask questions, make contribution. Let me just record that because Madam Oluleye is in the house. It's gonna be boom. Come on, I'm looking to that with my lecture notes, branding. So can we have contribution? Thank you for the comments. So great, so great, so great, everyone. Thank you, thank you. Nobody wants to ask any question. If I did not say any hand up, I will just close up and go to the next class. Any other contribution? How do you allow me to? You want to ask a question, you want to make a contribution, or mute yourself and ask. Let's quickly attend to that. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good day, sir. Thank you very much for this enlightening session that you gave us. And also everyone that has come here has done a really great job in enlightening us. So my simple question is, as we all know that pest control, that is fumigation or any type of pest control strategy, we know it takes, like, there is a standard time, a standard duration that it should be done, which is quarterly for most organizations. That is, it should be done every 3 months of the year. So as disinfection is concerned, what's the duration? Like, how often should it be carried out? Since we know we are dealing with microbes, viruses, and fungi, how often should it be carried out? That's just my question. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Let's take another question. Another question. Thank you, Kaude. Another question, please. Nobody want to ask question? Or you guys have not been hearing me? Oh, was I boring? Really? Maybe it's possible I did not sleep overnight. If I tell you my job here, you even say, this guy, you get an edge. Thank you. Damitade, can ask your question and make your contribution. Damitade, good to have you. Can unmute, please, and ask your question.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask about the Chlorinox, yeah? I wanted to ask, please, what's the shelf life for it?
Okay.
Hello?
The shelf life of the product, like the expiry date, or after application, how long does it take for you to disinfect or to
the expiry date? So, like for us, that we usually carry it to resell. So, what's the shelf life for it? So that's the thing.
Thank you. I'll get to that.
Before you use it, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Then another thing I wanted to ask, then for cleaning services, you know, like we're talking about mold, can Chlorinox be used for mold? Because I don't know. For mold treatment.
Okay. Mold treatment.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. I got that. Let me just get one more question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. One more person. Yeah, and I will just call all of you to answer the question. If all of you are about that, you answer the question. I did not talk. Nobody's talking. Maybe all of you just on your phone. You've gone to be eating lunch. You've forgotten about it. You paid for it too, even though it's 10,000. Yeah. So just ask a question. One more question before we bring in the next facilitator. One more person. Raise your hand or just unmute yourself and speak out. Maybe some of you don't know where to raise that. One more person. Is it that none of you get called for disinfection? Even if you are doing cleaning, you are majorly carrying out disinfection. One more person. Okay, fine. I go to the answer. The first one is duration of disinfection. How often? Unlike pest control, like you can say, I kill the cockroach here. Cockroach has 27 days life cycle. You kill it in another 1 month. You come back for treatment in another 3 months. In the area of disinfection, it will not just be so. In the area of disinfection, it may not just be so. You can disinfect as many times as possible in a day, depending on the risk of the environment that you are working in. If the environment, that's why I said the first thing is the risk assessment. If it's an high risk, that's why you see in hospital, they mop surfaces even before COVID every hour. Those of you that do cleaning, you know what it means to disinfect your toilet every now and then. That means if you disinfect the toilet now and somebody comes to use it, if that person were to be carrying any infection in his body and use that toilet, that means the place is infected. That means the place you have just disinfected now can just be infected again in the next 1 minute. If another contamination comes into the same. So if the place is an high-risk place, like an hospital, like a place that have a lot of traffic, you may need to disinfect as often as possible, like a daily basis. That's why things like all of us must have personal disinfectant for our surfaces, our desk, our table, people, visitors, so regularly. Yeah, there are new development of some products that are coming out that can help to sustain the surface for a period of some time, 7 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and the max that has been said to do is 4 weeks. You know, that okay, when you use it on the surface, you can actually, anything that rests on that surface for the next 4 weeks, just like you do in your respirator spray, it will keep inactivating those microorganisms. Yeah, there is such development already coming up. We are looking at it. But basically, as you disinfect the place, and the place gets infected, depending on the high risk level or the potential of the place, you may need to do some of these things as often as every day, every week. Or if it's just a protective or like it's called protective disinfection, you can just recommend every other day or every other week or every other month. Maximum every month. Right. Thank you. And for the shelf life of Clovidos, anytime you want to use it, just shake the bottle, shake it very well before you use, and put it in your machine. Like every other medical chemical product, it has the expiry date of 3 years from manufacturing it. Thank you. 3 years from manufacturing it. Thank you. So I think I've answered everybody. Nobody's ready to ask me any questions. So I have the liberty to close this session at this time.
One more question. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Oh,
sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sorry. Please, for cold, I don't know, maybe as in some of us who get for cold. So like because the weather now, what we saw now coming in, a lot of people calling in, especially for schools. So they want to make sure that for microbial, for viruses, and they're saying that maybe they're having cold, not necessarily maybe they have COVID. So with that, what kind of products will you say is actually better for you?
The top among the list that have been proven to be effective in those regards is Coronos. It's Coronos.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's Coronos. In fact, I was at the airport early this morning.
Yeah.
I was at Kawati Helicopter, I was at the airport early this morning, and in fact, you see Coronos on all the desk. Coronos. You go to any platform owned by most of the foreign companies, Coronos is on their table because they tested it. On your mold, normally alcohol should not be very effective on mold. Alcohol we terminate the actual mold, but it will not terminate the cycle. That's why I said it will not terminate the head.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
But because of Coronos is fortified with some other addictive. So, and one of the things that make Coronos to be that I would recommend this for mold is because, or any other thing, because that can cause cough. Mold is one of those things, fungi, all those things. Is when you apply it on surfaces, it doesn't stain the paint. It doesn't stain the surfaces, and you can just spray it. No need to wipe it. Just allow it to dry up by itself. No need to say I'm spraying and wipe it, because the process of you wiping, you can actually make it ineffective. You can actually contaminate the place further with the same towel you have used to wiping so many other surfaces. You can just spray it on surfaces, allow it to dry. It will dry within. You know how many times I've sprayed it while I'm here? My laptop is here, my phone is here. As you spray, it doesn't stain. So, and it's you can try it on, even if you have a cloth or a shoe, your clothes, maybe your cap that you open and you see mold, spray Coronos inside and see the effect after like 10 minutes. The mold will not grow again. Thank you. Wow, I must take this question from my able guy, Mr. PCO Adebayo Shune, the Welfare Officer, Social Officer of Pest Control Association of Nigeria National. Good to have you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother.
Yes, sir.
It's wonderful to log into this refresher course. It seems I'm in the classroom. I'm a lecturer, Professor Debambi. He's dishing out those routines of chemicals and effects on the microbes, either virus or bacteria. I don't have a question. I just want to beg for something. Today we are sitting down listening to all participants. You call it something B3, Abi?
Something what?
Something B3. This training, you give it a name.
Yes. Okay, a 2-day certificate course on fumigation and disinfection, yes.
And it ended with P3.
It ended with V3, version 3.0.
I want to pronounce it version. So I want to put my name for version 4 in advance. And with 4 of my staff, I don't want to miss out, please.
Wow.
that shows the importance of training. You see, even if you go to universities, you might not get this kind of thing because we're talking of practicality of what to see on the field. So I want to thank all who are in attendance, particularly the upcoming ones, that we don't get this thing in schools. Rather, it's on the field, those in the streets who have done it in one way or the other will help us to see the practicality of how we can apply pesticides, disinfectants, and get good results. So, with your Ayodeji, I really appreciate this, and I'm telling you that when DFOR comes up in place, put my name down in advance with 4 participants, making 5. That's my observation. Thank you so much. So I'm driving, but I can't afford to miss your discourse. So thank you so much for this package. I really appreciate it, and I want to give my alliance to DFORTUNE and his team for putting up this together. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. What a privilege and honor. So grateful. Wow. Well, I told you the other time that my organ that he has started press control while I was in primary school. That's what I was talking about. That things are people that have been doing when I was in primary school. I don't even know. And he did not only register, he registered his staff members. And he said to us that even at the next edition coming, he's registered with all his staff, even 4 of them. Thank you, sir, for the honor. I'm so grateful. Thank you so very much. A lot of people now just want to ask questions. Madam Shona is waiting. She's in Canada. You know, our timeline is not like, she's bringing Canada. You know, yesterday we had somebody from Korea. This morning we have somebody from India. Madam Shona is in Canada. You can see from South Asia, Asia to Europe to Africa, a loaded section. Yeah. So maybe I just give one more person. I think Olumide has asked questions before now, right? Okay, Olumide Abimbola, let me get your question. Kayode has asked questions.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I want to know if Cronus is highly inflammable in nature. Cronus, yes. Is it highly inflammable in nature?
Yes, it is flammable, but not highly flammable. So it is not advised around this combustible material like your motorized sprayer.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
The body is like Clovidon that is not flammable at all. But it's not that it's vaporized so easily. But you don't put it around fire anyway. Thank you. You can get any of our products from our offices in Abuja, Lagos, and anywhere. We can deliver it to you anywhere. That's a wrap up for this session. That's a wrap up. I hope you get something. I hope it was worth your time and your money. This final lecture.